Hey, it's Cavallo from datingfire.com and datingadviceguru.com. A long-distance relationship can be one of the most challenging situations for dating. You probably know what I mean. If you want to know how to make a long-distance relationship work, you got to know what most women don't know, because there's a lot of barriers to keeping a long-distance relationship healthy. A lot of people don't believe that long-distance relationships can even work. Well, can they? Let's talk about it. How to make a long-distance relationship work. I'll give you secrets to success. And hey, if you like what you see here today, why not do the big three? Like and subscribe. This is awesome stuff. Why wouldn't you want to get more of it? Number two, turn on the notifications, that little bell indicator next to the subscribe button. And of course, if you have any questions or you want to suggest a video, leave that in the comment section below. The truth here is that long-distance relationships can work just as well as any regular relationship. And with so many people working from home and far away, it's more likely that your next relationship will actually be a long-distance relationship. And as I like to say, any relationship can work if you make it work. One of the best rewards of a long-distance relationship is that you can't take your partner for granted, right? You wait so long just to see them and hold them that you appreciate them that much more. Now, I actually put together a masterclass program to help the women that I know make a long-distance relationship work. And I'm going to talk more about that in a bit. But in celebration of that, I want to share a few tips with you that can help you make your relationship work with him, no matter how far away from him you are. First of all, what is a long-distance relationship? Well, it's any relationship where you're more than a couple of hours from your partner, and whether you have a significant time or distance barrier that stops you from getting together as much as you might like. When I lived in the San Francisco Bay Area, I dated a few women who were close to San Jose. While those two cities, San Francisco and San Jose, are not terribly far apart, Bay Area traffic makes the distance pretty huge. Sometimes it would take a couple of hours to get there. I'm serious, you get stuck in that traffic, it's insane. So if you look at your situation and you see that it's either inconvenient or just darn difficult to get together with him, yours could be a distance relationship. So first secret I want to give you is believe that it can work. It may be hard to believe that your relationship can work. You may have tried a long distance relationship in the past and had it fail. I mean, the person could be all the way across the world for all I know. But on the other hand, you may have also tried and come close to succeeding. The very first step has to be to generate your faith in this relationship. Now, of course, your belief won't guarantee that it's going to succeed, but if you don't at least have that faith, it's going to be pretty hard to make it work. If you have reasons that you're scared or insecure about the relationship, you should take some time to write those reasons down. This is why journaling is an excellent way to exorcise, get rid of those fears. And also check in with him. Make sure he has faith in the relationship too. If you've got the right tools and the right skills, it's actually not that difficult to make a long-distance relationship work. Secret number two, don't go overboard. Now, what I mean by overboard is that you don't want to focus too much on this relationship just because you're far away from each other. Sometimes, we overwork and we pay too much attention to a long-distance relationship. You really don't need to spend any more time on it than you would if you were dating somebody around the corner or just across town. Be aware when your insecurities show up, and they're going to complicate things. And I'm going to talk about that one in the next secret. For now, just check in with yourself and make sure with him that you aren't being too focused on this relationship. Next secret is tame your crazy. Look, insecurities can drive you nuts, even when you're in a short distance relationship, but especially in a long distance relationship. When all you have is time to think and ruminate, sometimes we just let our imaginations go wild. We imagine scenarios of infidelity or losing the connection and losing our attachment. It stirs up a lot of childhood wounds and fears, and this is why it's a really good idea to make sure you're also working on yourself at the same time you're working on any long-distance relationship. I recommend a counselor or a therapist to help you get through some of your childhood issues, because inevitably, this is the stuff that's going to hold you back from having the kind of connected and deep relationship that you want. If you've ever experienced extreme insecurity or fears in a relationship or anxiety, you know how disruptive and connection breaking they can be. The next secret is see this as a blessing. You might be tempted to see a long-distance relationship as being a bit of a curse, right? That you're already starting off one down. But after all, you're far apart, right? You can't see each other whenever you want. You long to touch each other and be with each other. You spend a lot of time dreaming about the possibilities. There are so many different reasons why you might think you're in an unfair situation. But in reality, you actually have a blessed situation. You have to be able to see the bright side and the advantages of having a long-distance relationship. After all, couples that see each other all the time very often don't appreciate each other. And when you're dating somebody at a distance, you have the luxury of getting to know them better. You don't have to rush into intimacy. Just think about all the different reasons that it's a blessing instead of a curse, and you'll instantly reframe yourself into happiness instead of misery. The next secret is to give it some structure. Every single relationship requires some structure. The most important part of this structure is simply a schedule. Have a schedule that you agree on that will help you navigate the lonely times. It's good to set up your calls in advance too. You also want to make sure that you schedule in some quality time as well as quantity time. Set up a 2 or 3 hour video date on the weekend when you can't sit down, when you can actually sit down and actually get to know each other. Have a video date, right? Having a structure will ease your insecurities and anxieties. You'll know when the next communication is happening and you'll be able to relax a little bit. But you can also end up communicating a little too much. Let's talk about that in the next secret, which is watch out for the texting monster. It's easy to fall into texting as your default communication with him, but be very careful about this. You can really overdo it. Everybody is overdoing it with texting these days. Men aren't that excited about texting, and they're nowhere near as excited about texting as women are. You also don't want to fall into the trap of placing too much importance on communication that doesn't carry any tone or emotions in it. Yeah, I'm talking about texting again. Sure, you got emojis, but the really important communication, always do that face-to-face or voice-to-voice. Next secret is fire it up. You got to make things hot in your distance relationship. If you're dating somebody at a distance, well, you're running the risk of not communicating enough emotions and real intimacy. There's a lot of different ways you can do this, even when you're in a long-distance relationship. I talk about them in my program, Long Distance Love. But you want to make sure you're focused on keeping things spicy between you and him as much as possible. One of the greatest challenges is intimate connection over the miles that are in between you. Next secret, dates are destiny. You've got to keep dating each other. Even if you're in a distance relationship like this, you still have to put in the same kind of pattern of dating in a long distance relationship. The more you can keep your relationship following the pattern of a relationship where you're living closer to each other, the more you can do that, the better. You need those connected times to be able to talk with each other, to connect. Be careful about missing out on dates because you think you have a completely different relationship. You start to get very, I call it incremental, those little bite-sized chunks of send a text, 30-second voicemail. That stuff is too short. If anything, dates are even more important in a long-distance relationship. Concentrated time. I can't cover every single secret today. I've got a ton of stuff in this article. If you want to go check out the original article, go to the site, go on over to datingfire.com. That'll send you straight to my blog, and you can check it out there. Next secret is avoid the mistakes. Most of success in life, and really anything in relationships, anything, it's simply avoiding the mistakes. And there are plenty of mistakes to make in a long-distance relationship. It's not about knowing if a long-distance relationship will work, it's knowing how to make it work. No one can tell you if this relationship is possible or not. You are the one that has to make it happen. Part of that process is to find out where your potential landmines are and avoid them. If you simply avoid the mistakes, you're probably going to succeed where most other people would fail. The next secret is beware the naysayers. It's also really important to watch out for people who shoot down your dream. A lot of people want to make you think they know better than you. So watch out for people who don't understand your relationship and your situation, who try to discourage you. While there's a lot of challenges in a long-distance relationship, there are challenges in any relationship. It's usually just a matter of choosing your challenge. Here's a quote for you, one of Carlos's favorites. People that are too weak to follow their own dreams will find a way to discourage you from your dreams. The next secret is don't fight the separation. When you're in a long-distance relationship, you're going to find yourself apart more than you're going to be together, right? You have to come to terms with this. Every bit as important is that you also don't struggle and you don't fight against this one simple fact. You'll have separation from time to time, sure. And if you try to change that or you can't accept it, you're going to find yourself acting out against it. A little history about me. I was in a long-distance relationship where I fought against the separation. I couldn't stand it. I felt like we had to be together or else I couldn't keep going in the relationship. I couldn't take it. This was my own insecurity talking. Now, as a result, I relocated halfway across the country to be with her, and we lasted about a month. Now, it's not because of the long distance part. If I hadn't done this, the relationship might not have lasted anyways. But the point was that I needed to be patient with myself and our time apart. I rushed it, basically. The next secret is stay time synced. Another challenge of distance in your relationship is that you may not be in the same time zone with him. It could be a couple of hours, or it might be up to half a day. So you're going to want to stay in some kind of coordination with each other's time zones, like knowing when he's getting up and knowing when he's going to bed, and he should know the same thing about your schedule. Not only this, but you should also know what your calendars are like, what days you have certain activities, when you have free time and when you don't, and when you're not going to be available to take calls. When your time is at least coordinated, you'll have a feel for where that other person is during the day, right? It's almost like knowing what's going on with them, and this can lead to feeling a lot more connection and a lot more secure. The next secret is be careful. Don't smother. One of the most important tips I can share with you is that you want to avoid being too there with him. What I mean by that is you don't want to smother him with your attention. Men need space to breathe in a relationship, the same way you do. Again, if you're having a long distance relationship, it's going to be tempting to nurture it or pay too much attention to it. Don't treat your situation as fragile. Every relationship will have its stress, and it's that stress that shows you how to grow together and how to strengthen your love. All right, big tip here. Secret number 18 is watch out for social media. You might be tempted to connect more often on social media as well. It can be a compensation, right? But this is very dangerous. It's even dangerous for couples that are not in a long distance relationship. You might find yourself looking for hints or clues, or letting the fear of missing out, you might have heard of that one, FOMO, fear of missing out. You might let that influence how you feel and how you communicate with him. It can be a very ugly spiral of insecurity. Be aware how much time you spend checking up on him on Facebook, or all the other forms of media out there, social media. Stop yourself if you find you're doing it out of compulsive emotions. There is a right way and a wrong way to use social media in a long distance relationship, and this is something else I explain in Long Distance Love. Next tip is fill in the blanks. Don't forget to keep each other aware of what's going on with your family and your friends and your social life. If you're together in the same location, you would be talking about this stuff anyways, wouldn't you? Yeah? So don't neglect talking about your everyday family life as part of your conversations, whether you're on a video call on Skype or even in your occasional email. Knowing what's happening in each other's lives will give you a sense of relationship that is more real to you. And finally, the last tip today is know what to do and when. You may have noticed that by now, most of the things that will help you in your long distance relationship will not always be texting or social media or even using a computer. In fact, very little of what I just said was, right? There is a right time and a right place for each strategy in a long distance relationship. There's also a wrong place and a wrong time. And if you wing it and you just improvise, things aren't going to work out right. Everything I've just told you here works, but you also need to know when to use it effectively, right? Timing is extremely important. It's like baking a cake or making a dinner. You have to know the timing of things. Even more important is knowing how to fix a mistake when you make it. If you don't know the plan, the roadmap for a successful long-distance relationship, it's unlikely you're going to figure it out by accident. In fact, the only accident likely to happen is the end of your relationship. Now, I do have a very quick and simple plan for you. It's a simple map for how to make your long-distance relationship work. And it's available now for a limited time. It's also very affordable, so go check it out. Go on and read my special report on long-distance love. Go on over to datingfire.com/LDR. That's right, datingfire.com/LDR, long distance relationships. Oh boy, what a topic. You can make him love you and chase you over any distance. And the beauty of this program is, by the way, if you find yourself in a situation where he is close by, you can still use these strategies for the text that I give you and for the other strategies to really keep him engaged, even when you just can't see him because your week's too busy or he's too busy. It's important. You got to use this stuff. It's estimated that over 40% of new relationships are going to be long-distance relationships soon, and that number keeps increasing because of the way society is now. We now have different things and different factors that keep us apart from each other, and you've got to know how to get past them, how to get close to him. Any distance is bad distance when it comes to a relationship, but it's easy to overcome if you know the strategies. So go on over to datingfire.com/LDR and check it out. Hey, this is Carlos Cavallo. If you like what you saw here today, why not do my big 3? That's right. Number 1, make sure you like and subscribe. This is great stuff I give away every week, so you can keep getting it. Number 2, click on the notification button there next to the subscribe button so you get these every week and you know when they come out. And number 3, make sure you leave me a question or comment in the comment section below. Hey, this is Carlos Cavallo from datingfire.com. If you want to stick around till after the credits, which you should, I got one more tip for you to sneak in. Hey, as always, live and love with passion. Hey, another little tip, this one's actually pretty helpful, is if you're a really bigger distance where you just can't see him very frequently and you have to fly, is to send him a tchotchke. What's a tchotchke? Well, it's another good way to stay in contact with each other. Just send something physical to each other in the mail. It can be something as silly as like a Rubik's Cube or a keepsake item or a charm. Sending each other a physical object is a good way to create a feeling of reality in your relationship. Because so much of what you're doing is imagination, you might run the risk of wondering if you even have a real relationship. That question will come up. So sending something to each other can make a huge difference in your feelings of connection.